everybody, and welcome to Second Level Sports. We've got a brand new show for you today. We're just going to start playing some games. And with us today are the three new members of Second Level Sports. We've got Asher, Greg, and Nate. So today, we're going to be playing the NBA trade game, something of my own making. But let me make sure I tell you guys the rules. The NBA trade game will be built as a three-phase game based on the rules, roughly, of Around the Horn that used to feature on ESPN. Phase 1 will be trying to justify trading a player to a new team who needs a fresh start. Role players, fading stars, young guys stuck in bad team fits. After each pitch, me, the host, will rate their trade based on how good their argument is, just like Around the Horn. Bonus points if the panelists can justify career revival narratives, if their player that they choose is way out there but they justify it well. You get the idea. Now, without further ado, let the games begin. And make sure to like and subscribe. Now, Asher, we're going to go ahead and start with you. What are you doing here? This is Second Level Sports. Bring it to me.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Asher Moore. I guess all the things about me, go to ETSU and have had a show there called The Triple Option. Get to talk about sports. Kind of love all things sports myself. Kind of focus on the big four American sports: MLB, NBA, NFL, college football, and of course the other ones that surround them.
All right, Greg, you're up.
Yes.
Yo, what's up, everybody? My name's Greg. I'm kind of new to this. I don't really know too much about sports, but once I get to getting into it, I can really catch on real fast. So I'm just ready to sit down with the boys and just get to chatting about it.
Nate, your turn.
What's up, y'all? I'm Nate Hayes. I'm a recent graduate from ETSU, and well, I'm pretty much a sports diehard. I sleep, eat, and breathe everything sports. Main focus is football and basketball, with the goal of being like a sports broadcaster of some sort in the future.
All right, well, there we go. So you've met the boys. We've got the rules. Let's go ahead and play the game. So phase 1 of this game, I need you guys to bring me the best argument for a change of scenery. I need you to trade players on NBA teams who need a fresh start. Role players, fading stars, young guys stuck in bad fits. Anybody that needs a good change in their NBA career at this point right now. Asher, we'll go ahead and start with you.
For me, I think it's Dalton Connect. We sit here today in East Tennessee, so the name Dalton Connect is one that many folks here are fond of. And well, I think after all the blunder that was the Dalton Connect trade to the Hornets and the way that the Lakers season ended up panning out in the playoffs, I think it's time for Dalton Connect to get a change of scenery. And I think that starts with him getting moved to a team in Tennessee, the Memphis Grizzlies, a team in need of wing scoring and some consistent shooting. And Dalton Connect has the potential to provide another Tennessee team with a spark on the wing.
So does Connect come in and kind of take away reps from, I don't know, Luke Kennard, Tyus Jones, other Grizzlies guards? Is that the idea?
I think it's the big thing to know about Dalton Connect right now is that he is very young and that his ceiling, right, we don't really know what that can be yet. So I don't think I can confidently sit here and say that Connect is going to come into Memphis and take someone's spot, but I can definitely see it being a progression from a rotational wing player who provides the spark off the bench to eventually potentially a great scoring option to pair alongside John Morant, Zach Edey, Jaren Jackson Jr. in that starting lineup.
Sure, that is 100% absolutely valid. Okay, So we've got our points in for Asher's round. Nate, you are up, sir. Give me your player who needs a fresh start.
The player I believe that needs the biggest fresh start is Jonathan Kaminga from the Golden State Warriors, as he's been 4 years. He's been there for 4 years now. He just hasn't been able to find a consistent role or playing time with the Warriors. He just has had constant issues with Steve Kerr himself. With it even getting to a point this season where had times where he was just out of the rotation completely.
Yeah.
And that just being 22, I think 23 at the start of next season, he still has time to grow, and the spurts he has played, he's shown flashes. And I think a team that fits this is the Chicago Bulls.
Okay.
As the Bulls forward situation isn't crazy. All they have there is really Mars Bazelis and Patrick Williams. And Patrick Williams is, Patrick Williams. And then Mars Bazelis is a future there, but if Jonathan Kaminga were to go there, he would be able to get a much bigger spark, whether that be a six-man or starter, and would actually be able to, actually get consistent playing time and see if he can truly revitalize his career and become somewhat of the player that people thought he would be coming out of the G League Ignite in 2021.
Yeah, absolutely. That checks out for me, at least. I think Kuminga could get a starting spot on the Bulls. I imagine we made fun of Patrick Williams, but I imagine Kuminga could very easily take his spot right there. Just jump him. Patrick Williams could even be included. Greg, you're up. It's your turn.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. And you guys, I listened to you guys players. It was wonderful. But I think mine will be Jordan Poole to the Orlando Magic. You know what I'm saying? Wizards trade Jordan Poole to the Magic for Gary Harris and like the second round pick. I think that'll be cool. The only reason I think that'll work is just because Jordan Peele had a good season, you know what I'm saying? But it's like he's like a kid in a drama class who crushed Shakespeare one semester and then forgot his lines the next. So in Golden State, he was the chaotic microwave scorer they needed off the bench until he became a full-time starter in Washington with no Splash Bros to bounce off. Yeah. But the Wizard expected like a leading actor instead of like a TikTok comedian doing improv. So in Orlando, Poole could have become the off-the-bench lunatic that injects chaos into an already elite defense. You can think of him as like a riding spark plug on a young team with Fraz Wagner. I think I'm saying his name right. Pablo Bankshire. I don't know if I'm saying it right. It's a lot of players.
Yeah,
but,
that's close.
Jalen Suggs. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? To keep him in check. Like those was the players to keep him in check. But Orlando doesn't really need to lead. They just need someone who can like just drop 18 in the second quarter and sit back down. Like, we just need somebody to just get our points up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's fair.
So I feel like sometimes a player isn't bad. He's just being asked to act in a genre he doesn't belong in. So it's just he's supposed to be in some other type of drama, not no comedy or anything. But Jordan Poole isn't a drama lead. He's a sidekick inside more of a high-octane buddy comedy. Just let him cook from the second unit.
Yeah, that's fair. I think the Wizards' little experiment with him being a starter has been interesting so far. It'll be interesting to see if they end up moving him. Okay, so now we are on to phase 2, which I need you guys each, kind of like the last round, I need you to justify trading a franchise cornerstone. We already had a pretty massive one this season in Luka going to the Mavericks for a kind of average return. But I need you guys to do the same and how it would benefit both teams. That'll end up getting you the most points this round. So we'll just go in player order again. I'll have Asher go first. Who is your superstar that you need to trade?
Asher now proceeds to change Brandon Ingram's team back to his former team, the Pelicans, knowing full well he's on the Raptors. Every time he says Pelicans, it will now be replayed with this sound over it. Continue.
Well, I think it's time for Brandon Ingram and the to part ways. I think Brandon Ingram as the I guess you could say the number 1A, number 1B, kind of with Zion Williamson's health being as in question as it is. That's why I'm decided to take the approach in calling Brandon Ingram the best player on because we all know the importance of availability. And I think it's potentially time that we see this star player move from to, I don't know, let's see, a contender who fell short due to lack of scoring potential from their wing players. Let's go with the Houston Rockets. Brandon Ingram and the Houston Rockets, I feel like, are a match made in heaven, and the Houston Rockets have plenty of capital to send back to New York in order to make this deal enticing for the get the option to build a young core around Zion Williamson, as long as Zion can figure out the health issues that we've seen plague his career so far. The could really get something going there. The Rockets have a lot to offer. They could send a guy like Jayshawn Tate. They have plenty of picks. And I think it's a good landing spot for Brandon Ingram in Houston because he gets to really shine as a scorer while the team around him can work as kind of the machine that works around this central working force. So it'd be Brandon Ingram for the Rockets.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I see the going trend among us right now is to send all these superstars to younger teams. Nate, are you thinking kind of in the same boat, or where do you need to send your superstar?
Well, for me, it would be Milwaukee trading Giannis.
Okay.
And trading him to the San Antonio Spurs. The reason being, well, as we may have seen in the past weeks, that there's been speculation that Giannis could get traded this summer. Mm-hmm. And I think the best destination for him to go to would be the San Antonio Spurs, as they just have a bunch of assets at their disposal that could benefit Milwaukee. And if he were to get traded there, I would say that they would get back the number 2 overall pick, which is basically going to be Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes for contract reasons, and then Malachi Branham and like three future first round picks.
Yeah.
And the reason being, right, the package itself may seem kind of crazy. However, this is Giannis on the trade market, who is probably the biggest star to be on the trade market since Kobe Bryant. Maybe since Kobe Bryant was in the trade back in 2007. And Milwaukee would be receiving a Dylan Harper, a guy who could come in and be a potential face of the franchise, potential out the gate. You have Stephon Castle, who is coming off of being a Rookie of the Year. It has shown potential as a combo guard with upside as a all-star caliber player. Mm-hmm. We'll see if he gets there, but he has potential to be that. Devin Vassell is a good quality bucket getter. Of course, Harrison Barnes will just come in and be the guy that kind of fills up the money side of things in this trade, and then Malachi Branham would just be a throw-in and maybe hope he can become something on a team where he could have maybe a bigger role.
Yeah. And
then for the Spurs, well, I mean, you'd be pairing Wemby and Giannis together, which, I mean, that's now that I'm explaining why that would be insane. I mean, you have 2 elite defenders on the same team, 2 absolute freak of natures on the same team, pairing that alongside De'Aaron Fox, who they required this past deadline. Mm-hmm. That would definitely catapult the Spurs into some sort of contention out west.
Yeah, I can definitely buy that. It does seem to be the trend right now to send them to young teams. But Greg, you're up. I need your superstar that's going to end up on a brand new team. Who you got? I'm interested to see this.
Okay. I was thinking hard about this, and I was making sure I practice his name too, so y'all can hear me. Davon Mitchell to the Knicks for a
Donovan.
package
Yeah.
centered around Mitchell Robinson, Miles McBride, and like draft picks. So you know what I'm saying? I feel get to my notes. The Knicks are in the cusp of a championship run. You know what I'm saying? They boosting a good core right now with Jalen Brunson,
Yeah.
Carl Anthony Townsend, Michael Bridges, and OG Anabach. If they add Delvon Mitchell, it'll be a dynamic, like that score garden would go up. It could
Yeah.
be like a final piece to push them over the top. With his ability to create his own shot and stretch defense without like complements Braun's playmaking and Towns' inside out game. So I feel like with Mitchell's contracting near its end and uncertainty about his long-term commitment, the Cavaliers are capitalizing on his value now. So with Mitchell Robinson providing a defense anchor and a elite rim protection, Miles McBride offers a young guard with upside. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be Peckham Denick, I hope I'm saying his name, adds an international flair and potential to the team.
Oh,
The
yeah.
first,
The French guy. Pacome Dadiet. Yeah.
look, even Asher looked confused, but he knew what I was talking about.
Yeah.
He knew what I was talking about. Even he looked confused, like, is he saying his name? I'm trying my best.
No, you got it.
But I feel like the 2 first round picks give Cleveland like just a flexibility to build around their remaining core or use as an asset in a future trade. So I do the Knicks will receive Davon Mitchell and the Calabrese will receive Mitchell Robinson, Miles McBride, and the Panko Didiet. How do you say his name is? Where he
Yeah,
from?
you got it. It's close.
Where he from though? Where is he from though?
I think he's French, if I'm not mistaken. I think. I don't know.
You
I don't
could
remember.
tell.
He's not done much so far, at least. But he's got a lot of potential, so we'll see how that goes. All right. So now we have the final phase, the big 3. We already had some good trade ideas involving superstars, involving some role players moving to teams where they would play their role better. But I need a big 3. We already had LeBron, D-Wade, and Bosh. But I need a modern big 3. And I need you to tell me the 3 superstars that's going to be, and the team they're going to be on, and if that would even make sense or not. So Asher, we'll start with you again. Who is your big 3?
Well, the names may not be as big in the moment, but picture this, a big 3 of Fox, Ball, and Wembanyama in San Antonio. Charlotte right now is in a terrible situation to be in. They were just ranked as one of the worst run organizations in the NBA, and they've been flirting with the bottom of the draft lottery for years now, and there doesn't seem to be much direction. Now, I really like Brandon Miller, and I really like what he can become in Charlotte, but I think it's time to move some pieces around to give him that potential to shine, while also allowing LaMelo Ball, who is currently being paid a lot of money, over $30 million, an opportunity to go contend with one of the league's best young players in Victor Wembanyama and one of the league's most dynamic point guards in De'Aaron Fox. The way that I'd make this happen, well, it's going to be a steep price for San Antonio because we know how good LaMelo Ball is. How about we give up Trey Jones? We'll start there to Charlotte, a playmaker and a consistent player throughout his career to provide some stability for Charlotte in the meantime at the point guard position. How about next we go Devin Vassell? Now, I know it's a big sell for San Antonio to get rid of this guy. He's a guy on a big contract in San Antonio right now. However, I feel like in order to make these runs at championships, you have to be willing to part with certain players. And while I like Vassell's game, I think allowing LaMelo Ball to come into this team and set up this dynamic backcourt while also having Wembanyama in the front court could set up a bright future in San Antonio, who would, yes, be entering win now mode with this core. You're going to have to give up a lot, so how about we give up that number 2 overall pick? Charlotte, you get an opportunity to trade a guy who is a 30-plus point per game scorer and LaMelo Ball at his best, but you get the opportunity to take a guy like Dylan Harper, who Nate gave a lot of credit to earlier, has the potential to be a superstar in this league. And while this may not be a trade that has a lot of attention around it right now, I think it could create one of the most exciting big threes in the NBA. If Charlotte needs more picks, San Antonio's got plenty of them to offer. They've got plenty of picks in the first round. How about we give up that 2029 first round pick, unprotected, from San Antonio? They have a lot of draft capital to spare. If Charlotte needs more, there's plenty to give.
Yeah, I can definitely buy pieces of that. I'd be interested to see, because Nate ended up offering a lot more in his trade for Giannis. I'm curious to see if Stephon Castle still gets his minutes, even though LaMelo Ball's there. It just depends. That trade makes sense to me, though. San Antonio looks like the popular choice.
Well,
Nate, you are up.
My big three will reside in Houston. With the trio of Alfred Sengun,
Okay.
Kevin Durant, and then Amen Thompson.
Nice.
The reason starting off with how you get there, well, obviously, Sengun and Amen are already there, meaning you had the trade for Kevin Durant, and well, you do that by you would trade Dylan Brooks, Cam Whitmore, and like Jalen Green being a big fish in that big fish in that trade package, because, well, as you saw, ever seen this playoff run, the Rockets definitely are definitely getting there to get to be a contender.
Yeah.
However, the issue that came to be the eventual downfall of them this playoff is not having consistent scores outside of VanVleet.
Yeah.
And like we're saying with Jalen Green, he just couldn't come up big or couldn't do really anything in the playoffs. And so you trade him and Brooks and Whitmore and maybe some other assets alongside of them for Kevin Durant. You would be acquiring a guy to come in and be an elite scorer that Kevin Durant is. You pair that with Sengun, who has the Jokic Sabonis kind of play style that he can operate from the post as a playmaker, and even has some flashes of some perimeter game, but mainly on the low post. Be a good offensive engine. And then you got Amen Thompson, who I am personally extremely high on to be I think he could be, of course, one of the best defensive players in the league, but if he can work on his game and build some sort of a jump shot, whether it's mid-range or three-point, I think he could be an all-star in this league. And if you compare the defensive master class that is Amen with the offensive with Sengun and Kevin Durant, I believe that could definitely help them in putting themselves into the conversation of being a contender out west.
Yeah, 100%.
They're already at the doorstep from this past year. They just got to make that extra push, and then that extra push is Kevin Durant.
Yeah, that I definitely see that. The Houston Rockets look like a team to watch as far as people that they could move around. I'm curious, just because you're our resident NBA guy, does Jalen Green run into problems in Phoenix? Does he take Bradley Beal's spot?
He's taking Bradley Beal's spot 100%. I mean, Bradley Beal's future there was also in question, but that's another conversation. I mean, Jalen Green, he has his issues. He's definitely the better player, and maybe a new spot for him next to Devin Booker, he could maybe find more of a groove there, find his game more better than he was able to in Houston next to Sengun, who was also trying to find his role as well. And so, yeah, I think he would definitely start in front of Bradley Beal.
Yeah, lots of young players there in Houston trying to get with it. Greg, you are up. I need your big three, sir. How you gonna do it? How you gonna pull it off?
Okay, my Martin big three would be Jason Tatum,
Ooh.
Bam Adebayo, and what the Tyrese Halliburton.
Okay.
Why I say this is Indiana signs Bam as a free agent. It's gonna be like 2026, or trades Miles Turner and picks to the Miami. But the Pacers swing a blockbuster for Tatum after the Celtics playoffs collapse, offering Benedict Mather, and I hope I'm saying his name right, Jerace Walker in 3 first-rounders. Why I feel like this will work? Halliburton, NBA's smoothest passer and a 40% shooter from the deep.
Yeah.
And then you got Tatum. He's just a 26-foot assassin who could switch on defense and score in the ISO or flow. You know what I'm saying? Then you got Bam. That's not it. He is 6'9", Draymond Gobert hybrid who can guard 5 positions and run a DHO sets. So this trio fits like puzzle pieces from different boxes that magically complete the same picture. Halliburton orchestrates, Tatum closes, and Bam protects. And we're better than Indiana they can go. The Pacers are quietly becoming the NBA's basketball culture hub. Smart fans, sharp front office, and no egos. This big three will pass the ball, and it's a vibe check. It's not just about talent. You need 3 players who can share an Uber without drama. Halliburton, Tatum, Bam. That's a carpool with elite defense, efficacy offense, and no Twitter beef. What an alt version with different teams. You know what I'm saying? So it'll go big like that. It's like small market versus big market. You know, put it together.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna look something like that. Sounds like the small market teams are on a bit of a comeback. We talked a lot about San Antonio today, talked a lot about Indiana, and Houston looks like they're on their way back. But now, since we've come to the end of our game, I'm gonna give you guys a point check. So here are our totals. We've got Asher with a cool 14 points in the first game. Excellent work. We have Greg with a respectable 17 points at this point in the game. And we've got our resident basketball guy, Nate, with 18 points to close out our very first Second Level Sports trade game. Thank you guys for coming by and watching today. We're going to be here a ton more. You're going to see these 3 guys a lot more on this channel. They're kind of coming on with me and doing this whole new gaming type setup. But in case you were wondering, this is going to at least attempt to happen at least once a week. We're going to be here on YouTube. We're going to be on Spotify. We're going to be all over the place. And this is just going to be a fun gaming experience. So make sure you make sure you comment, and tell us some sports trivia, sports type games that you guys like playing with your friends. Do you like pulling random people out of a hat? Do you like those TikToks where they ask you for the most random wide receiver you possibly can? I like those. But do you? I want to see what you guys have in store for these games. Next week, we're going to have a new person in the hot seat. But for now, I've been Steve. There's the boys. And we'll see you on Second Level Sports.